In a moment here, I'm going to turn it over to our peer advisor leaders, also known as PALs. Before I do, let me tell you a little bit more about them. Part of New Student Connections, PALs are a team of student leaders that are here to help you during your time at USF by giving you some individualized support and connecting you to resources on campus. Each week, these virtual chats will be hosted by 2 different PALs, so you all will have a chance to connect with some of the great student leaders interested in helping you as new and current bulls. The first PAL joining us is Ebony, who's a third-year student majoring in biomedical sciences. Ebony is joined by Cameron, who's a third-year student majoring in marine biology. Take it away, y'all.
Thank you, Rick. So like you said, my name is Ebony, and I am a third-year student majoring in biomedical sciences with a minor in Spanish, and I am from Warner Robins, Georgia. And so today we'll be learning about more things and all things time management, including the importance of structure for space and time, tools, and then also some of the pros and cons of the options and holding yourself accountable. By the end of this session, you will have some of the great tools and information for time management and setting up your entire space.
That's right, Ebony. I'm Cameron. I'm a third-year student majoring in marine biology here at USF from Las Vegas, Nevada. I don't know about you all, but I'm pretty excited to learn more about time management tonight. We have a wonderful guest here with us who's an expert on campus when it comes to this topic, so please allow me to introduce Yvette Gutierrez, a graduate assistant in the Academic Success Center. We'll be in great hands learning more from her.
Hi, my name is Yvette Gutierrez, and I work in the ASC and help connect students to resources that will help them be successful through their academic journey at USF. Juggling courses, due dates, work hours, etc. can be really daunting. And for some of you, it might be the first time you're really managing your time here at USF on your own in this type of atmosphere. The most important thing is you guys take creating a structure for your time and space, a plan. Without a plan, you're leaving everything up to chance, and it becomes difficult to hold yourself accountable or figure out what really works for you. I suggest a 3-part plan: a master semester plan, a weekly plan, and a daily plan. A master plan is a calendar of every due date, test date, etc. for your courses for the semester, so you can see which weeks are really busy and plan ahead for it. This can be such a great tool to see that week 4 of your classes, you have 3 papers due and 2 tests. It is better to know week 1 rather than getting to week 4 and being surprised by so many things all at once. We sometimes look at our classes and their deadlines individually like silos, but you want to see the whole picture. That is what the semester plan does. Using the semester plan, you can start to put together weekly and daily plans. The plans are much more detailed and have time for studying, assignments, social activities, everything. These plans help you determine where your time is going to go and allow you to adjust time blocks as needed. Same thing with space. You want to plan a structure, a way to know that you are ready to work, to make sure you have all of your materials, resources, and that you are able to limit the amount of distractions around you. If you play by ear, you might start studying or doing work in the kitchen because it is convenient and you can see the TV. But then you realize you don't have your books. Everyone is in there talking and the TV has taken the best part of an hour. Or the time you studied in your bed and fell asleep. That is because your brain knows that the comfy bed is where it sleeps. It is programmed. You want to program your brain to know it is time for working. That space can be a dedicated corner of a room that you set up. It can be a patio, it can be a table, whatever makes sense for you. Use the space and determine what works and what does not, and then change accordingly. When I started working remotely, I tried several spaces in my house before I landed at my desk in my room. And honestly, I'm still perfecting my space. Just make sure to limit those distractions, come in with a game plan to make sure you can be efficient and get things done. There are several ways that you can manage your semester, daily, and weekly plans. We are going to go through some of the most popular. Keep in mind you can use more than one of these options in combination with each other, which is what I do, or something entirely different. Everyone has different preferences. The most important thing is to find what works for you and is sustainable throughout the entire semester. The first is a desk calendar. A desk calendar is a great way to set up your semester plan. It is very large and you can make it visible by putting it somewhere you will see every day. That way, when you pass it, you will see that paper due date coming up or that very busy week at the end of the month. Because it is so big, it does make it difficult to transport with you. And if you put it on your desk, you might spill something on it, or accidentally mark it. If you like something visual and large, this is a great option. The second one is planners. Planners have both monthly calendars and weekly calendars, the best of both worlds. They are super easy to transport so you can take them anywhere. Part of the planner's cons, though, can be its ease to throw it in your bag. Sometimes you forget to use them because they can be tucked away, but they are versatile. Lastly is the electronic or virtual calendar. Google, Outlook, there are many virtual calendars out there. Most of the virtual calendars can make it very easy to set up a schedule by allowing you to input recurring events for things like class meetings, group meetings, etc. You can also color code the calendar and create categories for different time blocks. You can set notifications that come to your phone or your email. With that being said, we can get notification fatigue where you get so many you stop seeing any of them. Just make sure to stay on top of organizing your calendar and keeping up with those notifications. The hard part here is that with these strategies, it is important to be absolutely brutally honest with yourself about where you are and what is working. Find what motivates you and what makes it fun. For time management, it takes time to put together all three of these plans, which can be very frustrating at times. So if you like color coding, get some markers, some colored pencils, some pens to decorate your plan. Or if you're computer savvy, use a virtual calendar, just like we talked about earlier. Even those small motivators will make it more fun and engaging. If you find that you're not engaging in making the plan, try to change your strategy to something that will stick to you. For space, same idea. What will make your experience in that space more appealing? In my workspace, I have an inspirational board with quotes to keep me motivated, and I absolutely love it. Sometimes sitting at my desk can become draining, and it's fun and it makes me happy to work when I see those quotes. If you find that you are not working efficiently or there are distractions you did not anticipate, change it. Try something else until you find what works. And again, just be honest with yourself. I have a few resources for you to use. The first is a remote learning tip sheet specifically to help guide your time management when working remotely. I also have Word templates for each of you to use as a starting point for getting your plans together, a master, a weekly, and a daily. If you find that you are struggling, I will also provide how to make an appointment with one of our study skills mentors at the ASC. They can work one-on-one with you with your time management and special plans.
Thank you, Yvette, for that wonderful information. All right, folks, now we're going to start moving into a time of Q&A. So if you haven't already, please send your questions in. Looks like we already have a few to start out with. So Yvette, what should we do if we share a room with someone? What should we do to study in that case?
What I would say is find a space or let your roommate know that you're studying and try to find a space and let them know obviously nicely that you're studying and that you need the time and not the distraction around you. Or if anything, find another space at USF. There are plenty of spaces throughout the entire campus, the library. For me, when I was an undergrad and even now as a grad student, I use the Muma College of Business has an atrium. So you find a space that's quiet and that works for you. If your roommate wants to use the room, then go ahead and find another space off campus or on campus somewhere else.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And then one thing I would also add is that definitely share your schedule with your roommates. So I do have 3 other roommates, and so we actually have a board with all of our schedules on there. So that way everybody knows like who's in class at what time, who's working, stuff like that. And so that way maybe you guys can, like, because you've shared your schedule, figure out a time that you both can use the room to study together. And then if not, then of course you do realize that maybe they'll have to go or you'll have to go. But yeah, definitely sharing your schedule with your roommates works out. And now we have another question. So Yvette, can I connect my Google Calendar with the Canvas calendar?
Yes, you can. That is my favorite thing in the world. I actually do that. So if you go to Canvas and you go to your calendar at the kind of on the right side, kind of at the bottom, under all your classes, there's a link that says or calendar link. You can copy that and go into your Google settings and then integrate your calendar into Google, and then all of your Canvas assignments will go to your Google Calendar. That is exactly what I do on my Google Calendar.
Thank you for that wonderful tip there, Yvette. We have another question. what tips do you have for time management with an asynchronous class that doesn't necessarily have any meeting times?
That is a good question. So I actually have one of those classes this semester. It took me a little while. I'm still going to be honest with you guys. I'm still learning to find my routine with that asynchronous class. But for me, it's just I write everything down, what's coming up, what's due that week. And I find time to sit down and do those asynchronous classes. Although it is asynchronous, they do have due dates. So follow those due dates, because just because you're not in person, or you have to kind of follow your own guide, they still have due dates. So just make sure that you're following the due dates and you find time to take time aside to do those asynchronous classes, because it does get, you might miss something. So just write everything down in your planner, in your calendar, anywhere that you see. And make sure you take advantage and not miss those. It happened once to me, and I from then on I was like, make sure I write everything down, and I go week by week, and it does help writing everything down.
Awesome, thank you for that response. We have another question, and so this question is, how do you balance a job with classes?
That is another good question. So again, try to figure out a schedule that works for you in regards to when those due dates are, and then work it in with your schedule. And then also make sure that you talk to your employer, and you keep an open communication with them and say, hi, I'm in school, I'm obviously trying to study and things like that. Can you be more flexible with my schedule if you need more time or less time, things like that. And but yeah, basically just kind of try to get a routine, follow the schedule, and then try to work it into everything. There's time for everything. I know there people say that there's not that much time in the world, but if you schedule things out and you create a routine for yourself, you'll notice that you actually have more time than what you actually think you have.
So I definitely agree with that, especially the transparency when it comes to your supervisor about your hours and just kind of your studies. So I also balance a job, so does Cameron. And I think one of the best things for me would be that I make sure that my job allows me to go to my classes and then still have that time after class to study, go over those notes, and then go back into work if I need to. And then I leave it so that I can have that time to study. And so I know that for some people, like, you work later times, which just means that you may have to start waking up earlier and doing studying before classes, which is something that a lot of people didn't really do when you were in high school. But that's something that I did find out that I had to do, where I had to study before I went into a class. But that was allowing me to be able to prepare for that class and all other classes as the days continued on throughout the semester.
One of the things that definitely helped me out when it came to balancing a job, especially with the PAL job, was just writing everything out, like getting a visual as to what my days would actually look like, both with my schedule and my class schedule and my work schedule. Once I figured that out, I found the spots where I can fit in studying, where I can fit in homework, where I can fit in social time to, have a good time with friends. So for sure, write things down, get a visual of what things look like. Because if you're thinking like, okay, I've got this at 1 to 3 and then this at 4 to 5, those are just numbers like in your head. You don't really have a visual of like what those times actually mean. So definitely for me, write things down. That's my takeaway from that. I'm also going to use this to transition into the next question. Are there any places we can't study on campus, or can you study anywhere?
So you can pretty much study anywhere. I think currently, because of COVID, you do have to make reservations at certain areas. I know the library, for one, you have to make a reservation. In the College of Business, I know in the atrium, they have seats separated, but as long as there's room, you're more than welcome to study there. And I know now outside of the business school, they have tables and chairs there for you as well, for that are 6 feet apart, that follow the protocols. So you're more than welcome. And then the MSc is also open, and you don't need reservations there either. So you're more than welcome to, as long as you follow protocols. And if there's reservation, you have to make a reservation. But if there's no reservations like the MSc, you're open, and you're more than welcome to go there as well.
Thank you for that response. Here's the next question. The student said that they feel like their classes are too much and a lot of work, but they don't really know where to start improving their strategy for these classes. So they asked for any advice on improving their strategy, basically.
So my advice would be, and this is just what worked for me personally, and it might work for you, is just start somewhere. Start with a planner. If the planner doesn't work, go to a big calendar. If the calendar doesn't work, then go to a virtual calendar. Just start somewhere. It took me, I'm going to be honest with you, it took me about 2 years to kind of see what works for me, because classes were always changing semester wise, and I'm still learning now from like I get ideas from my sisters or my co-workers and see what works for them, and I try to apply it. If it doesn't work, I move on. If it works, I integrate into what I've already been doing. So just start somewhere and then work your way, color code, whatever you need to do, try something first and then move on. But what I would suggest is start with the planner. USF gives out free planners. Start with the planner. If that doesn't work, then move on to the calendar or a virtual calendar or something like that.
Okay, so next question. Do you suggest a written planner or a online calendar?
So I'm going to be guilty of this and say I use all three of the calendars that I spoke about. I use a big visual calendar that's up here on my in my desk for like my month, so I know everything that's going on in that month. And then I have a planner that I write everything down, and I do that week by week. So on Sunday I sit down and I say, okay, this is what's due this week for this class, and I do color code. I have color pens that I use, and I match my color pens to what's on Canvas and on my planner. And then I also use a virtual calendar. So honestly, for me, it both worked. All three of them worked because I'm so visual that I have to see everything. And then the virtual calendar, the notifications, I wake up, I scroll through my notifications, like, okay, that's due today, that's due today. Oh, I have work today. Oh, I have my class starting at 8 p.m. today or 8 a.m. today. So things like that, I do use a combination of all three because all three works for me.
So for me, I prefer a written planner. That's me. I like the fact that, if I need to move things around, I just have to take out a pencil. I don't have to log into something, hit 16 different settings to fix stuff. It's just easy, erase, write it back down, good to go. That, and I just personally don't like the interfaces with a lot of online calendars. They frustrate me. I don't like all the colors. It's just my personal preference. But one thing I'd like to say is don't be afraid to use some trial and error in finding what works best for you. I definitely went through it. I'm sure Ebony's gone through it. So definitely do not be afraid of, maybe flopping on your first couple attempts.
Yeah, so I was actually going to say that I had once tried paper calendar, and I realized very quickly that's not who I am. And so kind of like Yvette said, you have to just try, and like Cam said, you just try, and then you figure it out. Hey, like this isn't me. I started my freshman year thinking it was going to be aesthetically pleasing to have a big calendar and highlight and make it look cute. And then somewhere during the year, it wasn't working for me. I wasn't crossing things out. I started in August and my calendar was in November by the time I got to spring semester. It was very bad. But then I found out that you can put everything onto your Google, like not just Google Calendar, but your phone calendar. So you can subscribe it to your phone calendar. And that became very easy for me because now I carry my phone everywhere. And so I literally have my classes, my work schedule, the time I'm spending with my friends, my study sessions, all of that coordinated, and it's all on my phone. And so that is really beneficial for me. So yeah. And then now I'm going to take this opportunity to move into the next two questions, but we're going to kind of combine them. So the first question is kind of, can I meet with someone in person from the ASC? And then also, can you give us more information about how the ASC helps with time management?
Absolutely. So because of COVID-19, we do have protocols. All of our tutors are tutoring and having sessions online only. However, if you are a Smart Lab student or an ASC student, you can reserve computer labs, a computer from the smart lab. I can't guarantee that somebody will be able to meet in person for sessions, but you are more than welcome to utilize the computers as a computer, like if you need a computer lab. And how the NASC, what we do is we do have a study skills mentor session. Like I said, they will meet online in virtually, but they will be able to kind of give you some skills. Time management is one of them. How to organize, your space. How to prioritize your school with your work. So they will sit down with you and kind of help you with strategies on how you can basically become a better student in words of like timing and studying and things like that. So you are more than welcome to go online to our website and go ahead and reserve a time to meet with a study skills mentor tutor.
Next question, I feel like, is for everyone who's a student currently. What are we doing to manage our time that has worked well for us? I can start us off if that's okay with you guys. So for me, like I said earlier, I like to write things down. One, when I write it down, I feel like, that's a physical thing. I should keep track of it. Whereas like virtual stuff, I don't necessarily, keep track of. It's like notifications on your phone. They kind of get annoying after a little bit. So that's one of the things that's helped me is writing it down and keeping track of that physical piece of paper.
Okay, I'll go next. So for me, like I mentioned, I use a combination of all three. And for me, I have to write. I like to see everything when I wake up in the morning. So that's why I like the virtual, because I scroll through my phone first thing in the morning. So I see all my notifications. And then when I'm walking out of my bed to my bathroom, I see my calendar. And it has everything there too. So for me, it's just kind of knowing what's going on that day, what's going on that week. And then also I want to mention that don't be afraid to tell the people that you live with, whether that's your family, your roommate, that you have to have time aside for studying. You have to have, you have to go to school, you have to go to work. So don't be afraid to let them know, like, hey, listen, we went out last night, today I need to study, or we went out last weekend, this weekend I have to study. So, just be honest with them, have an open communication. But definitely for me, writing things down, seeing it every day, going on my notifications, like a little bit of every section kind of helps me stay on top of my time.
Yeah, so for me, I think what really works for me is really prioritizing me time. I think the last semesters I spent a lot of time like studying and in the books and then, freaking out the next day. But like when I tell you I will schedule time with friends and I will put that in my calendar. And as weird as that sounds, it's literally what I do. So that's one thing that I also do. And then additionally, kind of like Yvette has said, definitely tell your roommates like, hey, gotta study. And my roommates, of course, we're all friends. So definitely being like, yeah, I gotta like close the door right now. You all like to study is a conversation that we have to have. And then the last thing that I would do is I find it really beneficial to study with people who are not taking the same class as me. So I have a friend that we are literally meeting this Sunday, and she's going to work on her stuff and I'm going to work on my stuff. And we're just going to be within the same vicinity. And this is how we're going to spend time together because we haven't seen each other because of COVID. And we're still going to study and prepare for the exams that we have. So that is that. And then moving on to this next question, because of course I love moving into other questions. This question is, what is a PAL? And wow, I'm excited to answer this question because I'm a PAL and Cameron's a PAL. But anyway, so PAL stands for Peer Advisor Leader. And so we work in the Office of New Student Connections and Parent and Family Programming. And the best and easiest way to explain what a PAL is I like to say we're the plug on campus. We're literally just here to connect you to other resources that you may need on campus. So anything, like if you're like, oh, I have a question about this, but I don't know who to contact, you can contact your PAL and they'll get you connected to the correct office. They can ask further questions for you. Yeah, we're just like open, available resources, good friends, nice people. We're just here for you. That's what a PAL is. So yeah. Take it away, Kate.
Just to add on a little bit to what a PAL is, like for me, it's more than just the title. Like I really like helping students, and as a PAL, like sometimes I like to call myself a tour guide. I just point you to where to go on campus, but it feels good for me to help you guys find the resources you actually need. And then I'd want to transition to how to find a resource if you're not on campus, and how can we use the Academic Success Center if we're not on campus or in Tampa?
Absolutely. So you are more than welcome to go on our website. We do have, like I said, tutoring tutors that will be more than happy to tutor you in a lot of the courses that we offer here at USF, mainly calc, algebra, physics, chemistry, things like that, statistics. You can use that. And you can go ahead and book a reservation. Our website is basically, it's the USF Tampa, and you just type in the Academic Success Center, or you can just type in ASE USF on Google, and it'll pop up the website there. And that first homepage will show you how you can book our services to utilize the tutoring and things like that.
Thank you for that response. This next question asks, where can I get a free planner?
The free planners are usually in the Marshall Student Center in Tampa.
Earlier you talked about a template. How can students access that template?
Absolutely. So the students, you guys can go ahead and click the attendance link, and you will get a follow-up email with this template on there. Or if you're watching this as a recording, then you can go ahead and email the ASC Tampa at usf.edu, and they'll be more than happy to send you a template.
All right, this one says, do you have any tips for getting through classes and everything without getting tired of looking at the screen all day?
That is a good question. First and foremost, make sure you get enough sleep. I know that's kind of hard as students, but sleep is definitely a big one. I do still have trouble with the trying to, trying to get up and, not being tired and things like that. Now, looking at a screen all day, I would recommend taking a break every now and then away from the screen. Especially if you're out at it like 12 hours, just kind of, take a step back, close your eyes, or go ahead and take a break, food, obviously restroom, or if you just need a 5-minute break to just stretch, but make sure you turn off your screen, black it out, but step away from the screen for a good 5-10 minutes to kind of, de-stress your eyes a little bit, because it does get hard, and you will most likely start getting a headache and your eyes will start getting tired. So, just step away from the screen for a good 5-10 minutes and let your body and your eyes relax a little bit. That definitely helps as well.
I definitely agree with that. Just to think about some things that you could do in that time that you do step away. One thing that I do is you normally get about 15 minutes. I have 15 minutes between classes. And so I will take that time to get up and go bother my roommates because I know that they're there. And so that kind of goes back into the prioritizing the me time, allowing me to socialize, because that's what you would do if you were on campus. You would walk to your next class, you would socialize, do other things. So I definitely do that. And then shout out to my supervisor, we tried something very random. It's called chair yoga. And so you can also try using chair yoga or anything that might be a YouTube meditation kind of thing like that. Something that you can, hey, sit in front of your computer and just spend that time getting away from the thought of school per se.
So I know some students may be in some very tough classes. I know this semester I'm in organic chemistry 2, and I am not liking it. Not because the professors are bad, just because it is a lot to take in as a class. And for me, it helps me to clear the stress in my head to go and take a walk. I live just off campus and I'm really close to the fitness trail. Going and walking a couple laps of that. One, it's healthy for you. It's 1.25 miles long, so 3 laps. That's your steps for the day. And 2, it's pretty peaceful back there, so it's really quiet. You can hear birds. Good place to clear your head, de-stress. So for me, that's what I do. To avoid, getting bloodshot eyes from staring at a screen all day. And to transition into the next question, what if a student's living at home with family? How do you recommend creating a space that feels distinct and not, hectic like home life can be sometimes?
Absolutely. So I do live at home with my family, and that was one of the things that I had to figure out as well, especially during these times. What I do is, like I said, I found that my room was the best way to do it. My desk in my room was the best way to kind of alleviate distractions and things like that. And then I also make sure I communicate with my family. Like right now, there's a sign on my door that's saying, guys, I am in a meeting, I'm in class, please be quiet, please respect my space when you walk by my door, things like that. I do communicate with them because it does get hard. I mean, they're living their life. I can't tell them to like not do not do their normal routine at night or whatnot or during the day. So I communicate with my family. I put a sign on my door, but just again, just be open with them. They understand. They should understand that you're studying. So that just goes back to the whole being open and communicating and things like that. It is hard though. To kind of separate and distinct, your school and your family, but you just have to kind of be open and things like that.
Of course. And so that was our very last question. So I would like to just turn it back to you, Yvette, and ask if you have any more important pieces or key points that you would want the students here to walk away with.
Yes. So my main takeaway in regards to time management and space management is find what works for you. If you can't get it down the first time, try again. It's going to get frustrating, but I promise you, once you get that routine down and that scheduling down and the management down, it does become easier and it becomes a routine. And then again, communication and openness with your family, your friends, whoever you live with, just kind of keep that constant communication with them and let them know, hey, listen, I'm studying, or not today, let's do it another day kind of thing. So just be open and communicate and find what works for you.
Those are some great questions, everyone. Hopefully this time was helpful for you to learn a little bit more and dive in a little bit deeper about how to manage your time and how to set up your space to be successful with your classes this semester. Thank you to our pals, Ebony and Cameron, and to Yvette Gutierrez from the Academic Success Center for helping us all to learn a little bit more about time management and setting up our spaces. To connect with the Academic Success Center, feel free to email them at asctampa@usf.edu, which is currently displayed on your screen. You can either go to their website or email them there to make appointments or to inquire about their services and whatnot. And just to reiterate, to get that great follow-up email with a time management template and some additional resources, you can click the attendance link if you're here with us live, or you can email asctampa@usf.edu if you're watching this as a recording. They'll be more than happy to share those resources with you. To stay connected with us at New Student Connections, you can follow us on Instagram at USF_NSC or email us at newstudent@usf.edu, both of which are currently displayed on your screen as well. In a moment here, you'll see the attendance link shared one last time. So again, if you haven't given that a click, go ahead and do so now. We hope to see you all at our next How to College chat this upcoming Monday, September 14th at 8 p.m., where we'll be learning more about all things studying, including how to study and how to form successful study groups from our friends at the Academic Success Center, so you won't want to miss that. For more information about these virtual chats and other great opportunities for all Bulls this fall, please go check out the Go Bulls Guide app, where you'll find the USF Student and Family Guide, which is also displayed on your screen right now. If you prefer a browser version as opposed to an app on your phone, you can go to the URL that's currently displayed on the left side of your screen, and you can see a browser version of that guide. Thanks again for joining us to learn more about How to College, and as always, go Bulls!